Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com, and today I wanted to talk about some recent, well, maybe not so recent, but acquisitions to my comic book collection and just comic book related collection, I guess, because not everything that I got are comic books. So, first up, a while ago, this was almost a year ago. I bought some comics from my future son-in-law's father, who is a collector. Not in the same sense that I am. He doesn't buy the comics to read them and to enjoy them. In that way, he's looking for key issues. Because mostly he likes the art or the character, something along those lines. But he's not a reader per se like I am. So he was wanting to get rid of some of his comics, and he offered them to me at a nice price, and so I just wanted to show those off. This actually is not one that I wanted, but he threw it in just to be nice. This is Marvel Presents Bloodstone. So you can kind of see that right there. I'd heard of this character. I don't know anything about him. He's got this glowing bloodstone on his chest. It kind of reminds me. So it says here, he has lived for untold centuries, but today is the day he may die. The fear-fraught first issue, going with the wonderful Marvel alliteration. It reminds me of the Vandal Savage nemesis. I can't remember his name now in DC Comics. So I don't know if this is a riff on that or what, but there you go. Okay, I see I did not prepare properly where I was going to put the stuff after I talked to it. Here's one that was thrown in for good measure too, which I was very pleased about because this is Firestorm #1 from the 70s. I believe it was, I'm just going to guess here. I think it was 76, maybe 77, maybe earlier. I don't remember. But I've always liked Firestorm. I got the comic in its revival back in the 80s, although I got rid of pretty much all those, which is unfortunate. I really wish I hadn't culled my collection as I did a few times. Anyway, I got that. That was nice. This is so the next three are ones that I actually wanted to get, and again, because I love these characters. This is Strange Tales number 178. As you can see, it's Warlock, Adam Warlock, one of my favorite Marvel characters. So I got that. It looks really nice in this shiny plastic that he's got it in. It's in pretty good condition. So I think I've read this in a collection already, but it was nice to get this, like I said, at a nice price. Also got this mostly because of the historic significance of this book, and that is it's Uncanny X-Men, right? Doesn't say Uncanny on here, but this is Uncanny X-Men. This is 137. As you can see, Phoenix must die. So this is the issue where Phoenix dies. Well, for the first time anyway. So I don't know. I just got it for the value. I like the story, but you know, this was more of a, this actually was kind of a, I should get this to see what happens to it in the long run and in terms of the value of the comic. But I just like the story. This is the humdinger though. This is the one when he gave me a list of things that he was wanting to sell. I saw this on the list and I said yes. I didn't even care what the price was. I really didn't. Because this is the actual comic. So when I first started getting comics, there's a particular point in my history where I bought 3 comics that night that I considered the first time I started collecting comics. And one of the issues I got was a reprint of this issue, and I've always wanted to get this issue. And it is Amazing Spider-Man 121. Spoilers, this is when Gwen Stacy dies. I love having this comic. So yeah, this is great. Great. I'm so glad I got this comic. I don't even think I've opened it up to look at it. I'm really nervous to do that for some reason. Anyway, so those are the comics that I got from my future son-in-law's dad. Those are some good comics there. Next up, let's jump ahead several months. So at the time of this recording, this was back in beginning of February when my wife and I went to Ireland to celebrate our 25th year of marriage. Our anniversary is actually later in the year, but because of we had the time and it was cheaper to travel to Ireland in February. Anyway, great trip. I plan on posting photos that we took while we were there at my personal blog eventually. So anyway, but while I was there, I wanted to go to some comic shops. There's a couple that I found online. One was Dublin City Comics. Did not make it to that one. But the one store that I did find, and it was just because we happened to be driving past it on the bus, and I looked over to my right, and there it is. It's Sub City Comics. So we went in there later that day, and because the whole point was I wanted to buy some comics that were produced in Ireland by people who live in Ireland, and I figured, and doing my research online, I found out that this particular comic shop sold, comics that were created by Irish creators. Anyway, so I went in and got 3 issues of the same comic. This is called League of Volunteers, and that's issue 1. This is a variant of issue 2, I believe. And finally, issue number 3, as you can see here. Okay, so League of Volunteers, it's kind of like superheroes within the Irish history. Actually, I haven't read these, so I shouldn't even say any more than that. All I know is it's set in Ireland's past, at various points, with these more or less modern heroes, I guess. Looks like the first issue is at least set during the World War II era. Anyway, this is by Robert Curley. Barry Keoghan are the names on issue number 1. When I went in to buy these, there were a bunch of other comics there as well, but they were like 2 and 3, number 2s and 3s. For some reason, I didn't want to get a comic that wasn't that I couldn't get in at the beginning of the story, so I didn't buy others. And now I really regret that. I should have bought as many of them as I could, just to get a sense of what other kinds of comics there are. But I didn't do that. I bought 3 issues of the same comic. But delightful story. And I think I relayed this on the podcast, but I'll re-relay it here. When I went in and bought these, and these are €5 a piece, by the way, which is a little more than, I don't know, I want to say it's almost $6 in American at that time, American dollars. Anyway, that's fine. I was okay with that. But delightful little story. The guy who was behind the counter, when I brought those up to buy them, he's like, "Here, let me show you this." And he goes over and grabs some comics off the shelf and points in them, and there's this character in there that looks kind of like this guy, and he proceeds to tell me that the artist puts him in all of his comics. So I thought that was kind of cool. And the guy the guy behind the counter was very excited to share that too. I thought that was really cute. Okay, now this is in the beginning of March. I went to the Comic Geek Speak podcast 10th anniversary celebration in Pennsylvania, and while I was there, I bought some stuff at not Golden Eagle Comics. That's where they filmed. That's where they recorded their 10th anniversary celebration. But I went to Wild Pig Comics. That's what it is, in New Jersey. So I drove 2 hours from Pennsylvania, where I was, into New Jersey to go to Wild Pig Comics, because all I've heard over the years is how cool both those comic shops were by listening to the Comic Geek Speak podcast. And so I bought a few things there. I bought an issue of Badger. Number 3. So Badger number 3 is okay. It has nothing to do with number 3. So Badger is a character that I bought a couple comics, a couple issues of back when it came out in 1980. I want to say 83. But it, for some reason, it's a hokey concept. This character is totally insane. Literally in the comic, he's insane. But it's just an insane concept is what I'm trying to get out. I don't know why. I just saw this. It was cheap. I bought it. And then I found these Wonder Woman comics as well. This is Wonder Woman 291, 292, and 293. This is the Judgment in Infinity, and it guest stars a bunch of female characters in the DC universe back. I think this is 80 something. It's 80 something. I don't know when it is exactly. You can see here on issue number 2, there's a bunch, Supergirl and Batgirl in there, a bunch of other characters. I'm sorry, not Batgirl. That's Huntress. Whoops. Power Girl, Black Canary, and it looks like Phantom Lady in the background there. And then we get along those characters as well. But then when we get issue number 3, we get a bunch of the new Teen Titans characters. So, which is why I knew of this, but I never could find it. And so I happened to find it there. $3 a piece. That's pretty good for this. So here we are, a story I've been wanting to read, and I find it pretty cheaply. Also, really cheaply, I found a couple DC's archive editions. This is the Comic Cavalcade featuring Golden Age characters, as you can see here: Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and the Golden Age Flash. So, and I've been on this kick of getting some of the Golden Age stuff, mostly Green Lantern, and the next one I found, which is Robin Archives Volume 1. So, yeah. So the Robin one is collecting stories from Star Spangled Comics, but, it's stuff from the Golden Age. So, and I just wanted to get those things, and like I said, cheaply. So these retail for $50, and I got these for I think they were 20 a piece. So you can't beat that. So if I hate to sound like a commercial, but if you ever have a chance to go to Kenilworth, New Jersey, I think that's where it is, and go to Wild Pig Comics, I highly recommend it. They got great prices, really interesting selection. So check them out. Also, while I was at the Comic Geek Speaks 10-year celebration, I happened to win because I was deemed the one who traveled the farthest to come to the show. This omnibus collection, I think it says Absolute. Sorry, yeah, it almost says omnibus on there too. It's the Absolute Ultimate Gutters Omnibus Volume 1 by Ryan Somer. It's really big. You can kind of see here, my microphone's in the way. But yeah, look how big that thing is. It's I don't know, it's big. It's more than a foot on each side. It's a square volume. This is just, these are just little one-off pages that other artists did that this guy wrote. Trying to find a really good one here just to show you. I should have done this before. Oh, here's one. Here's a little page talking about the Wednesday Comics concept. So anyway, I'm looking forward to taking a look at that. And it was free. So thanks, Comic Geek Speak. Appreciate it. Now, finally, we just got back from the 2015 edition of the Emerald City Comic Con in wonderful Seattle, Washington, where I did get a few things. Not as much as I normally buy at Emerald City Comic Con. Normally, I come back with at least a short box full of comics, and I did not do that this time. I just could not find what I was looking for, which is really unfortunate. But what I did get. Oh, first let me just show you. I got some prints. So this is the official Emerald City print by Terry Dodson. You can see that. Really nice looking print. And there were only 250 of these printed, and I thought for sure that I would not get one of these. But Emerald City had two merch booths, one at the ground floor essentially, and then one up above in one of the upper floors, and they had a bunch of these up there, and so I got number 44 of 250. I really don't care about the number or anything, but I just was really surprised that I actually got one. Man, I should have looked this up before I decided to record this, but we saw okay. How do I explain this? So their DC Comics does these. They send out Christmas cards, holiday cards every year, I think. I've already seen the art for this because I like to find the Christmas card art online, and I found this a year or two ago. But then my wife, as she's looking around, we had to split up quite a bit during the con because we had the girls, and I went my way, they went theirs. But there was one point where we were just kind of walking around, and she's like, I have to show you this thing. And she pulls me over and she shows me this piece of art, which is Supergirl and Batgirl holding Joker and Lex Luthor. You know, it's snowing in the background, as you I don't know if you can see that, but there it is. This is a limited edition print of that Christmas card art. Only 20 of these were printed by the artist, and that's the problem. I can't remember the artist's name. I think his name was Mike something. Oh man, I'm gonna have to put that in the notes below this if I can find it. Anyway, my wife really wanted this, so we got it, and so I talked to him. He's doing the art for one of the Wonder Woman 77 digital comics, so that might help find him if you're looking for him. Anyway, cute little print there. Thought that was really cool. Finally, no, not, yeah, finally with the prints anyway. Guess who was at Emerald City Comic Con selling and signing these prints? None other than Neil Adams. Neil Adams was there, and so I bought a bunch of them. I bought 6. I'm only going to show you 4 because I plan on doing another video with the girls so they can show off the stuff that they got, that they wanted. But so 2 of those prints from Neil Adams are theirs, and they're pretty good too. Oh wait, obviously, you know, Neil Adams is one of the consummate Batman artists, but of course I got this one because Robin's in there. Nicely done, Neil Adams. Because I had to pick 4 of them for me, I just chose, you know, some of my favorite characters. He didn't have too many Marvel characters, but this was one of them. One of my all-time favorite Marvel characters, Daredevil. That's pretty damn good. And of course, you can't go wrong with. That's a pretty cool Superman pose right there, flying up like that. So that was nice. And then finally, what did I get? Oh yes. So I have Batman, Superman, and you know, you have to get the Trinity. So here is one of the Wonder Woman prints, this is probably one of the less sexified ones that he had there. So I wanted to get the Trinity, and so I had to go with this one. Anyway, he was really nice. He seemed really tired, which I don't blame him. But anyway, it was really cool to see one of my comic book heroes. Neil Adams has long been one of my favorite comic book artists. So it was kind of cool to say hello to him and tell him thank you for his work. So anyway, as far as the books that I got at Emerald City, one of the things, some of these are replacements, and this is one of them. This is one of the DC Digests, this featuring Flash, and I wanted to get this because the copy that I bought originally, I had drawn on here in the margins here. I put lightning bolts and stuff on, you know. So I drew on the cover with ink with a pen, and I've always kicked myself for that. So I wanted to get a more pristine copy, and then I get it, and I open it up, and it's got somebody's name here written in ink. Yay. Anyway, that's okay though. This is a better copy. I took some comics to have signed. Because there were a few people that were going to be at Emerald City Comic Con that I just wanted to go up and say thank you for the work they're doing. One of those was Greg Rucka for Lazarus, and I chose, so you can see his signature down here, but it's kind of hard to see with the glare, but this is one of the, it's covered by Mr. Lark. Wonderful cover. I featured this on, I think I featured this on the Long Box Review blog as one of my favorite covers of the week that this particular issue came out. This is issue number 14 of Lazarus. Anyway, really cool issue cover. Another person that I wanted to get a comic signed by and who was there was Mr. Chris Burnham. So I took this issue of Batman Incorporated, number 8, where Robin dies. So kind of see a Robin theme in some of these things. He's just one of my favorites. Anyway, so he signed that, and then tried to sell me on a couple trades that just came out of his. So I'll have to look those up and see if I want to get those. But that was really cool. He did that. Some issues that I got. I'm a big Teen Titan fan, and so I wanted to get some of the earlier Teen Titans appearances. There's a couple Brave and the Bold issues. This is number 80 or 94, which I already had. I just forgot anyway, but this is one I did not have. This is 102. So I get those as well. I think these are reprinted in the, I'm looking over the Showcase Presents. I think I have those in those black and white Showcase Presents, but I wanted to get the actual copies. So I got those. Got a bunch of some old, readers' copies of Adventure Comics. There's a particular run of this that I'm trying to get. There you go, Plastic Man and Starman in there. And I'm not getting them for Plastic Man. There you go. While I was looking at those, I also ran across this. And I've seen this comic a few times, but for some reason, I just want to get this. The Human Fly. Come on. And the guy that was selling them even had more than just number 1, but I was like, I just want the number 1 issue. Okay, and finally, I had a wonderful and somewhat lengthy conversation with Mr. Landry Walker, who is the writer of... you might know him from Danger Club. He also did Supergirl in the 8th grade. The Cosmic Adventures of Supergirl in the 8th grade, I believe that is the title. He's also recently done some stuff for DC. He did the last 3 issues of Red Lanterns, and he also did a story in the final issue of Secret Origins number 11. So I did not know that Mr. Walker was going to be there. I just happened to be passing by the Image Comics booth, and there he was. He wasn't on the list of special guests on the website as far as I can recall. So I came back a little bit later, and he was gone, and I thought, oh my God, I missed my chance. Turns out he was signing the next day and the day after, so I stopped by on Saturday, and... I warned him that I was coming. And he and I have had some brief Twitter conversations, so he kind of knew who I was, sort of. Anyway, but it was really nice because he signed the comics. I keep looking at them. I should show you, but here's this. So I got this issue before it arrived in my shipment of comics the following week after Emerald City Comic Con. And then, like I said, the 3 issues of Red Lanterns that I bought from him. But really, the thing that really excited me about all this, though, was he had all of the Danger Club issues. He had 1 through 7, and I got those, and they're all signed. I'm not going to show you all these, but except for... Nope. The final issue, which has a really cool cover, or the number 7 has a really cool cover. So he signed all those for me, which was really cool. And the best part, he showed me the black and white photocopies of issue number 8 with, I think it was without, yeah, it was without dialogue, I think. Anyway, doesn't matter. And not only did he show me the final issue of Danger Club number 8, he showed me the variant, the alternate ending issue number 8. So they're coming out with 2 of them. The main one, which will end the story, but then they have the alternate ending, and apparently they're only printing up, several hundred of those to be distributed, and they may be hard to find. I'm not sure why they're doing that. Well, you can guess why they're doing that. But anyway, Mr. Walker wanted to do, and the artist Eric Jones, they wanted to do this alternate ending type thing. But I guess Image Comics wanted them to do it as a separate issue, as opposed to having it as part of, printed in both endings printed in one comic. Anyway, so but it was just really cool to see how these stories will end before it actually comes out. So, but if you followed the blog or the podcast at all, I may have mentioned Danger Club in these videos as well. It's one of my favorite comics to have come out in the last few years. I'm really looking forward to reading the ending and the alternate ending, and it was just really, really cool that Mr. Walker took the time and talked with me, and he was excited to share this stuff with me, which in turn makes me excited about the comic and about the creators. So anyway, that is what I have collected recently, acquired, I should say, in my travels, my journeys. So there you go. That's what I got. So let me know. Do you have any of this stuff? You interested in any of these things? I'd be glad to talk to you about that stuff. Just let me know. You can leave comments below, or you can always email me at longboxreview@gmail.com. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And go read some comics. Have some fun. Bye, guys.